I have a couple questions for you. Then you just can share what you feel like sharing that will be helpful for anybody that's going through it right now or in the future, and then share a little bit about what you do and how people will get in contact with you. So
Okay.
foremost, I'm always curious to know this. When you first started the journal and when you finished, did your definition of what clarity meant to you change at all?
It did. I think I looked at clarity just on the surface level,
Mm-hmm.
and not really okay, like I understand what clarity is. Okay, just trying to be clear or whatever. But once I got into the journal and started, like the daily task, like you can't you can't get clarity on a superficial level.
Right.
It's a deep dive, and so that was my one of my greatest takeaways from the journal, because sometimes we can be kind of all over the place thinking that we're gaining clarity, but we're not diving into anything.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
at least for me, that's what I can say, that I,
Okay.
not diving into it like, okay, I'm not clear, but what am I doing to try to get clear? I feel like everything is cluttered. I feel like, but what am I doing to clear away the clutter?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And
Hmm.
I experienced a similar thing too. Let's see. What did I say? I said that it meant a clarity means a crystal clear insight at what really matters. It also means getting to the root of what I truly want at that time, the doorway.
Hmm.
Now that second part came in after I had done a couple of weeks. And
Okay.
it really I wish I could recall where I was at before I started writing this, because when you're creating the content, you're teaching yourself as well. So
Right.
I just thought it was like crystal clear insight on what really matters to me. But then, like you said, doing the deeper dive, I was like, okay,
Hmm.
get into the root, and according to that time and understanding is the doorway to my why. I was like, oh, okay, all
And
right.
that's the big thing that you say, when you say getting to the root and understanding the root at this particular time. Because I think for me, I was trying to get clarity over um, past, present, and future at one point. All in one,
Mhm.
just trying to get clarity all over past, present, future. And so what was lacking was where I needed to be at a particular time,
Right, right.
at this particular time.
Okay, well, at this point, I'm happy just to tell us who you are, a little bit about you, and what inspired you to start this journey anyway.
Tamika Renfro. I am a professional life coach, a master life coach with emphasis on purpose, happiness, and spirituality. So for me, this is something I've always wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
without an understanding of what it is. If I go all the way back to a young child through high school, college, this is what I wanted to do. And I went to school for psychology, got my master's in counseling, and then felt like I kind of hit a brick wall.
Okay.
Didn't understand what that brick wall was, but there was just some reason that at that time, I couldn't figure out, like, okay, this is what you want. Why are you not pursuing it? Why was it so easy for something else to come up, which was a process operator job at ExxonMobil out of grad school, that kind of just, why did I jump on that train so fast and just forget about what I've always wanted to do and my own personal passions? Um, so life circumstances, through the years working, health issues, different things like that, brought me to a place where I felt like I needed to make some decisions in my life, for my mental well-being and my personal happiness, and for my future. And that's what brought me full circle, to life coaching.
Yes.
And it's something that I realized, that you even helped me to realize, but that I've always known, I've always been doing, in different situations. Felt like, God just always ordered my steps in directions to talk with people, share my story, things like that. And so I really wanted to put my passion behind it.
Right.
And so, of course, when I left the working world and knowing that it wouldn't happen overnight, but I still think I really wasn't ready for all the work that goes into preparing to be a life coach, to learning the different techniques and tools to use, the business side of it. And so I think for me the clarity journal came at a really good point, because I was almost at like, did I make the wrong decision? Was this
Hmm.
not the direction that God wanted me to go in? Like I said, just trying to gain clarity on like my entire journey.
Right.
And so the journal was able to get me to sit down and think about what was important to me right now, what was holding me back from, getting this business off the ground, putting my full, all my everything into growing my business, learning the craft and things like that. And so the beginning, just discussing core beliefs, because so many times core values, because so many times we are operating from our beliefs,
Hmm.
from things that we've experienced growing up and how it shaped our view of the world, and not operating from our core values, what we hold dear, our guiding principles. So that, just jumping into that in the first week,
Hmm.
was huge for me, because a lot of my moves were being made based on where I thought I should be, what I thought I should be doing, and not listening to my internal guide, and leaning into God so that He could guide me.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then embracing, like, once the difficult part, like that was for me, embracing discomfort,
Yes.
because I was asking myself the question, but I wasn't sitting down and putting pen to paper trying to figure it out. I knew, I even discussed it with you. Like, I know it's imposter syndrome, but like, why is it so profound right now? Why can I not move forward um, right now? And so that part right there, it defines when we always say doing the work. Just like we were just talking about getting to the root of it, like understanding that there's a block right here and I'm stalled out, but why? So what
Right.
can we do about it? How can we release it, whatever it is, and move past it? And
Mm.
that's the week that really got me moving, got my juices flowing. And I think when I really started to gain some clarity about wanting to make sure that my coaching is what God wants me to do.
Right.
That what I'm learning, what I'm picking up, what how I offer myself and my services is in line with what God wants me to do.
Cool. Cool. Thank you so much for
Hmm.
sharing. I also noticed something too with myself. Did you find yourself stalling out maybe around, I guess, like toward the end of week two? I don't remember if it was the end of week two or week three. But week.
I think it was a little different for me, because I was stalling out when I started the journal.
Mm-hmm.
So I already, recognized it. I knew like I'm stuck, but I didn't know what I needed to do really to get past it.
Right.
And so the journal sat me down. Actually, I mean, it just kind of came in perfect timing. And so and it may be different, because everybody's going to come to the journal in a different space.
Right. Exactly.
So everybody's going to come to the journal in a different space. So I think when I started it, I was trying to gain clarity on why I was stuck.
Mm.
It wasn't so much of having to figure out that I was stuck, but just trying to understand why I was stuck, what it was, and figuring out how can I release that to get past it.
That's really
So
Yeah.
moving from um the discomfort, like writing the letter, the written exercises were really powerful for me because I'm a writer. I'm a
Mhm.
writer. You can sit up and you can talk to me and tell me and explain, and I'm still gonna be writing down just about everything you say. College, I'm taking notes. My notes are almost verbatim. What the professor is saying is just something about me and writing. So for me, once I sat down and wrote the letter um, to the discomfort, that was releasing for me
Okay.
because I didn't. There was, I guess, maybe like some shame and guilt I was feeling about being uncomfortable because it's like,
Mm,
okay, you're doing what you want to do. You stepped out on faith. Maybe it's not working out all, right now, but it's gonna just having that motivation. And not being ashamed that, hey, this, right now, this is not, admitting that this is not what I thought, or maybe
mhm.
even though I knew, hey, it's not going to work overnight, it still was even more to, more to discover than that. So I just liked how it keeps you moving. I think the journal really flows, starting off getting to like some basic principles and foundations, understanding like our own basic principles and foundations before going into all of the, you know, the hard things, the hard conversations and the hard activities.
Okay. Great. Great. So, and that makes so much sense to me now that you say that because I'm looking back at it and I'm like, I guess maybe I was in that when I did it, I was in, I was returning from sabbatical, but it wasn't fresh. I just returned from sabbatical for a while
Mm-hmm.
and I knew I was stuck, but I wasn't quite sure where that was. But
Mm-hmm.
um I was looking forward to doing the journal. I was enjoying it, but I noticed like at the end of week 2 that I started kind of stalling out. And I was like, girl, what is you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I just the things that I discovered, I'm like, maybe I just wasn't ready to let's see what that was about. I wasn't ready to face that and admit it, but I'm glad that I did because it was just like the floodgates opened after that. I
Right.
seen clarity within both businesses because I was struggling. I was fighting.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep this lab going because this is how I'm feeding my family. But
Right.
it's time for me to transition back over into coaching because that's my first love. That's where I want to be. That's what I said I was going to do. That's what I prayed for, and doors
Right.
opening. So I'm like, in a sense, I feel like I was scared that if I
Yes.
dug a little bit too deep, that I was gonna get the answer that I didn't want. And we already know
Mm-hmm.
what that is. That was anxiety messing
Yeah.
with me. And it's like, no, that I was
Mm-hmm.
when I finally faced my fears and seeing what it was that I really needed help with, and it just started going after that.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm like,
see, now I understand the question you asked me a little better.
okay.
I would say I stalled out just starting it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't start it as soon as I got the journal. And every day I'm like, you need to start that journal. You really should start that journal. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm still, like you said, kind of wrestling with knowing that I'm stuck and knowing that that journal is gonna take me to more than likely take me to a place, to that place, to that root of the issue. And so
Right.
I thought once I got in it, it just like you said, that's everything just started, what I'm saying, unfolding from, beginning to end. But my stall was prior to even opening up the first page.
Right. And that's so funny because that happens a lot in life in general.
Right.
With everything that's good for you, and a lot of times we know that this is the right move to make, but
Hmm.
we fall and we hinder, and I'm like, that ain't nothing but the enemy messing.
That's it.
But as soon as you go ahead and get in there, you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad.
Exactly. That's
I mean,
it. That's it. That's exactly word for word. Oh, this wasn't
Yeah,
that bad, girl. You
yeah,
got all the answers. Now you rolling. Now you move. That's exactly what it was.
yeah.
And that for me is what my understanding of clarity is now.
Okay.
So much further than that superficial level of just trying to be clear
Yeah,
on, that's it. That aha moment gave me the understanding of clarity.
good. Because I mean,
Mhm.
you meet a lot of people, and I think the more education we have, the harder that it is. And they'll be like, "I'm clear. I know what I want."
Right.
Yeah, but do you know how to get
Exactly.
there?
Exactly. Like, why are you not there yet? Like, why are you not, what I'm saying, doing this? Why? My question was, why am I not going full speed ahead 100%? What is stopping me? And, me and you had already talked
Hmm.
a while back that it was imposter syndrome. So, how long we had, that time frame from when you and I had that conversation, that was a couple of months
Yeah.
before, by the time I got the journal, that had been months that I
Mm.
was still just looking at imposter syndrome, just knowing that it's there and that's it. Nothing,
Right.
just, just on a superficial level, understanding, okay, it's imposter syndrome, but not sitting down and unpacking that imposter syndrome and finding out ways to release it so that I could move forward in what I want to do.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because I got so mad when I was on LinkedIn one day when I seen a movement of women saying that syndrome was not real, and that it's overly diagnosed for Black women, and
Hmm.
they were. I'm like, this is a clear indication that you don't understand what it means because they're saying
Exactly.
that the imposter syndrome mean that we feel like we're a fraud. No, you know you're not a fraud because, like
Right.
I
We
said,
know that.
imposter syndrome don't mess with the imposters. They fine.
They fine.
They already know they gotta cover their bases. They already know what to
Exactly.
expect. But it's
Hmm.
the ones that have something to say. You know what you're doing, and you're gonna benefit the people that are waiting to hear you,
Hmm.
meet you and see you. That's the ones that it come to mess with. So I was so mad because I'm like, don't tell them that. Don't tell them that because
Right.
there's people with big followings and everybody was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, that does not make you less than the woman. That
That's
does
in the one. Exactly. Hmm.
no, we're not saying that you have an imposter syndrome means that you shouldn't be in those spaces.
Exactly.
That's not why
Exactly.
I have it. And
Exactly.
that was the point that they were trying to make. And I
Hmm.
kind of I wanted to say something, but I didn't because I didn't want a whole bunch of that on my feed.
Backlash from it. Right.
Yeah, and I didn't want
Right. Exactly.
it. So I had to think of my words, and I came back to it, and so I just asked them to further elaborate what they meant. And I'm going down the comments, I see that other people were saying what I was thinking at that time. It's
Yeah.
saying, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's. And I'm like, how you gonna say yeah, and you won't go in there and ask your boss for a raise?
Exactly. Exactly.
Why do you think that is?
Hmm.
So, but
Hmm.
yes, but thank you so much for coming on.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I
Yes.
appreciate this.
Who are the people that you work with?
So, my client, my ideal client, as we talked about, is a working professional woman, um, who is spiritual, who relies, on her, spiritual foundation, because that's what gets me through
Mm-hmm.
every day.
Mm-hmm.
My clientele is chronic pain clients, people dealing with, chronic conditions, life altering, conditions that come and, upend your life overnight, because I experienced that. um, People that are burnt out, have been working, not only like job burnout, but just having the weight of the world, so many different situations that, fall on you at one time, and you feel like, you break or fold under the pressure. That's my
Mm-hmm.
clientele, because that's my area of expertise.
Yes,
which
ma'am.
is something else that I learned, in coaching and through you,
Hmm.
operating in my area of expertise. I want to be able to tell you and help you to get through those things that are holding you back the same way I was able to.
Yep. Yes, yes, yes. And there was also another post that I seen because I spend like sometimes today wasn't one of those days, but most
Hmm.
of the time I spend my days getting in good trouble going around correcting the professional folks.
Right. Hmm.
They realize and recognize the big movement that's going on right now in the
They do.
world. They see it and they want
Yes.
it. And I'm like, stay in your lane.
Exactly.
You know?
I'm seeing the exact same
Yes.
thing.
I'm like,
And
you
and
are
that can be difficult for new coaches,
Mhm.
because there's so much information out there that they are trying to kind of dissuade people away from the profession.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that there are people like you and I out here that can be our authentic selves and let others know that feeling these things does not, like you said, make you less of a person,
Mm-mm. It
and
makes
that
it
there are tools and solutions, to get you to where you want to be.
right. And
Mm.
just because you're a coach or whatever expert in your field does not mean that you don't lean on others for support and help. That means that you do that because
Exactly.
that's your limitations and
Hmm.
you are a leader.
Hmm.
If you're not a leader, you have no business trying to coach anywhere because that's what we do.
That's what we do.
Support you to whatever the thing is, the life change, whatever it is that you're saying you want. We help you to get there.
Exactly.
So I love coaching and I've been doing a lot of it and receiving a lot lately too. And
Hmm.
hey, my marketer was here and she was coaching me and I was just soaking it up. And it's just so divine the way that we met is that she's spiritual as well. So
Yes.
we get each other, we click. And so I'm
Right.
telling her, look, when especially people when they come and work with me, I'm blunt when I ask questions, and it's not being mean or rude. It's because I really want to know that piece.
Right. Exactly.
Next
Yeah.
point. And I was telling a lot of people don't want to work with me as a client because
Hmm.
like hey, I'm just being real what y'all said y'all wanted. Like, I don't want to do that. So when you tell me to do something and I tell you and I ask you why, just tell me why. And
Right.
and I was like, I'm gonna be like, well, I don't want to do that, but tell me why I need to do it.
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
wrong
Yeah. Having that
to do.
understanding.
Like,
Exactly.
you said you wanted to do this, so that's
Hmm.
why I'm telling you to do that.
So
Now
that's
you
why I'm
can do
telling
what
you.
you want with it, but this why. Like I know
Exactly.
a lot of people say they want that, but they really don't.
They really don't. They
So
really don't. You have to be ready for that. When
yeah.
you're ready for change, you have to be ready for
And
that.
that is the whole purpose. One of the purposes of this is getting people ready
Yes.
to face whatever it is that is holding you back. This journal will get you ready. Some people will go through it and you will be good.
Mm-hmm.
There is going to become a point in time that you're going to want to know more, or you're going to arrive at that place where I
Right.
need help with this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I love about it. And I was inspired to do it because I purchased a lot of journals.
Yeah.
That has been my go-to strategy for a
Mm-hmm.
very time. So
And I will say that the journal it's it's soft. It's while it's in depth and it's good work,
mhm.
it's presented in a soft and welcoming manner. Um, it doesn't feel forceful or forced. It's therapeutic, but doesn't feel like therapy.
Yes. Okay, good, good.
That's the
That's what
flow. It's definitely therapy. It's definitely therapeutic, but it
yeah.
doesn't feel like a heavy therapy. It's really light and inviting
Okay.
to gaining clarity. It's not like a come and get this clarity. It really feels like, it walks you into gaining clarity.
Okay. Cool, cool. Was there anything else that you wanted to share or
That is it. I guess everyone that's in the group, I hope that you get the same things out of the Clarity Journal and the Clarity Challenge. the things that I've gotten. Coach MT is such a valuable tool. She is not a gatekeeper at all. She will share with you anything that it is that you may need to move forward, in your journey.
Well, thank you
So
so
definitely take advantage of
Yes,
it.
please. Like I
Take
told
advantage of it.
you, I work an hour after closing time to do this. Please take advantage of it.
Take advantage of it.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am.
And if you have to log off, I understand.
Okay.
Before
Yes, ma'am.
I'll talk to you later.
All right. Yeah, have a good one.
You too.
Mhm.
All right. So now we're going to get into welcome everybody. I just wanted you to hear from someone that has been through it, and we're just going to get into day one of the challenge. Every day won't be this long. Ideally we'll be meeting from 15 to 30 minutes max and then logging off. And yeah, it's only 3 days. For those of you that are on with me, you have the journal or you have it coming to you. But if you don't have it in your hand, check your email for the PDF to download. And the bonus that's coming with that is that and it's inspired by somebody special to me. I won't call you out, but I know we're busy, and this is gonna train you to slow down and make time for you. So when you stop doing this, you're gonna replace it with whatever the thing is that you receive clarity on, and you can keep moving forward with that. You'll have made a routine out of it, and it will come to you like first nature to be doing something for you toward where you're trying to go during that time, even if it's just taking a nap. But you'll have that time set aside, so you're training your brain to remind you to do this. But one bonus that I decided to do was to create a private. It's not going to be public, but to create a private podcast for those of you that are VIPs, that you will get at the end of the challenge to help you continue on the journey. Because when I listen to them, they really help me. And sometimes us sitting down and reading, I pick on people a lot, be like, we don't like to read, but sometimes sitting down and reading can be a little bit intimidating, even if it's one or two sentences and or writing. But maybe you need a little bit of encouragement today to get in your journal and do what you need to do. Because I noted a couple of times that I stalled out, and I was like, okay, it'll be cool to have a reminder right here. And then I get feedback from people that have been through it, and we'll continue to perfect the process. But the number one thing we're doing today is getting started. So first and foremost, like she just said, that this is more than the surface level clarity. Everybody in here, for the most part, knows what they want. You may be a little bit unsure about how to do it. Some of you maybe even know how to do it, and you're unsure about why I haven't started or what's stopping me from doing this. Those type of questions like that. So today, for those of you that have the real deal, your first question, which I'm only sharing this one question today and today only, and I already did in the private group going forward. We also will continue to use the same Zoom link to get on for those of you that upgrade to VIP for the next 3 days. But we want to know, what does clarity mean to you? So the journal is asking you, what does clarity mean to me? And sit with that. And the way it is constructed is it has the morning check-in, the midday reset, and the evening reflection. Majority of the times, the evening reflection is where you're going to put in your work. But it's not going to be overwhelming, because I didn't want it to be. You're going to do enough work to dig further than the surface and get you what you need in order to continue going. So the days do build on ourselves. So if you miss a couple of days, just pick up where you're at, but come back and do the ones that you missed. Especially those of you that are working, because I know, hey, your schedule might not allow right now for you to get up and do your morning check-in. But if that is something that you're wanting to do, by the time you get in week 3, you will have set that time aside, and you will be done created a habit of doing it. So just to share like I was saying, when I first did it this time, because I've done it multiple times, and that's the cool thing about it. You can come back and do the whole thing over. You can come back and do, a week, or hey, I need to revisit week 2. What play around with it. You come back to these. These are like this is a coaching program, basically softened up and put into a journal. So you can come back to some of these questions to get the answers that you're seeking in every area of life. So I said clarity means a crystal clear insight at what really matters. That is what it meant to me. And then just remember when you're done, after you complete a 30-day journaling, for those of you that have it, come back to day 1 and see if it has changed. Those of you who do not, I don't think 3 days is long enough for it to change. But if you show up and do the questions and the prompts like you're supposed to, it may change. So I would encourage you to revisit and see if it's changed at all. If you feel a little bit enlightened, it might be the same. Nothing is, you can't be wrong with it. Then just to give you an example, the midday reset asks you another question. And then what I want you to note is like on day 1, midday reset, my answer was nothing at this time. That is sufficient. So note that unsure, nothing at that time, whatever, because you want to be able to look back and come back to this and see, okay, now I didn't know or said nothing because like I just shared with you guys when I did it this time, I knew I was stuck, but I wasn't sure of that. I was in that lane of those of you that pitch to people that are business owners, career women. We don't identify with being stuck. We don't know that we're stuck. We know things are off, but we don't identify with that. So the midday reset was blank at that time. I didn't figure it out so probably about the end of week 2 where I was stuck at. And then that set me up for week 3 when I was ready to go tackle it. So that, and then the evening reflection, it just notes you and me to note 3 things for the day, but it's all going to build on each other. So sometimes I would be so motivated that maybe I came in and I noted like my evening reflection because I usually have a lot of time at the end of the day if I don't have anywhere to be. Maybe I skipped one of the other ones, and I'm going to come back and do those 2 while I'm sitting here to help make it make sense. It can be 9 pages long. It can be two words. It doesn't matter. Just remember that this is your journey, your journal, and there's no wrong way of doing it. The only wrong way of doing it is not to do it. And then note the little reminders at the end, at the bottom. There are 3 requirements that you have to commit to in order to get the most out of this experience. Is being honest, being raw, and being present. What I mean by that is not doing this journal while you're watching TV, not doing it while somebody else is preoccupying you. Setting aside time, quiet time, where you really can focus on this. So how the podcast will work is that it will be something you can listen to, like, and remind you or further explore what was going on like that day or that week. I haven't decided how many days it's going to have in it, but further explore and encourage you to go and make the time to sit down and do the work. Because I did notice that life just comes in and starts life and starts distracting you and all kind of stuff. So that's that. Then the VIPs, you are more than welcome to download the free handouts that are going to be inside of the group. But I really want you to focus on the journal, and you can just note. You don't need to really download those unless you want to give them to somebody else. But you can use the back of it to jot down maybe some thoughts or something that you have about whatever the free stuff is talking about. So the main prompt for everybody else, and y'all can do this too though, because this really will help with you identifying what you want to work on. Is the main prompt that everybody will be focusing on today is what's one story that you keep telling yourself that might be keeping you stuck. And I'm just going to encourage us. I'm going to take y'all off mute now. Sorry. If you want to say something, you can. If you don't have to. If it'll let me. Oh, no, I can't. Just asking you to. If you want to unmute, you don't have to. The story that, and it just hit me like this evening because I was thinking it was something else yesterday, but it wasn't. But the story that I keep telling myself is that I'm not ready. And the context behind that is, yes, me, I still tell myself I'm not ready. And the context behind that is that I've been writing a book for about 3 years now. I started and I stopped. I have the material. The book is basically already written. But for whatever reason, I've been stalling out, not organizing or putting it together and or submitting it to the editor or whomever. So that's what I'm going to be dealing with as far as this week. And then to help us answer these questions, if you're like, I'm not telling myself a story. I'm not sure. I don't know. Remember to be honest and usually go with the first thought that pops in your head. So when you think about taking your next big step, what do you hear in your head? Is it doubt and maybe a what if, or is it a voice from the past? Like note those things, and then you can go on further down, and then that's the story that you're going to want to explore for today. Finish answering that. And then for those of you that don't have the journal, then you're also going to note what clarity means to you in addition to that. So we're answering what's the story that you keep telling yourself that might be keeping you stuck. Like for example, people that are wanting to go or start a career as a full-time entrepreneur, you may be telling yourself that you're not financially ready. You may be telling yourself that nobody's going to support you, that you can't do it. You may be, we just need to further explore why you think that is. So now you're going to say, to help you answer that, what, when you think about taking your next big step towards that, say an opportunity presents, what do you hear in your head initially? And is it doubt of what if this happens, or a voice from the past? Could be something somebody told you in the past that you think highly of, like a parent, spouse, peer, or someone that had like an authority figure in your life. Because people need to be mindful what they tell you. And you know what? It could have been as a kid and it could have been as an adult as well. So just write that. And then if you have any questions, you can post them inside of the group, or those of you that VIP, if you don't want to post in the group, you can reply to an email. But that is all that we have for today. Like I said, tomorrow will be much shorter. But those of you who haven't joined the challenge that are viewing this on YouTube, then you can click the link and come on over and get involved. And then I highly encourage you to upgrade to VIP. And those that are in it, go ahead and upgrade to VIP, because I will do away with just the journal purchasing right now, or honoring you purchasing the journal and being upgraded to VIP status. But today is the last day we will do that, and we will stop doing it at 10 o'clock. So, but thank you all so much for your time, attention, and support. At this time, if y'all have any questions, you can drop them in the chat, or you can come off mute. Right on time. Thank you so much, cousin. Y'all got my family here, so thank you, thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask them at this time or just drop them in the chat. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. if you're Eastern. Well, all right. Well, y'all have a good evening, and thank you so much again. If you're looking to join the challenge, come on over and join the group, or you can go to the Clarity Challenge, clarity/challenge.com. and go ahead and upgrade and get in and come get some of this juicy stuff that we're going over. I'm Coach MT, the founder of Simply the Best Coach Academy. Y'all have a good evening. Bye bye.